This episode of Power Tripping explores how greed creeps in behind the throne, with Jade, Hillary, and Kyle leading the conversation.
Hey, hello, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Books, the podcast where we go past the usual lectures and textbook to talk about the real stuff and actual matter. I'm Jade.
I'm Hillary.
And I'm Kyle.
So before we dive into a deep stuff, let's loosen up a bit more. So let's play for week's one part. Are you guys ready?
I'm always ready.
If I get this wrong, I'm blaming the system now.
Okay, so for the first one, can you guess the word?
A man looking up, a throne, a crown, a podium, or someone giving a speech.
Wait, throne, crown. I think either.
Yes, correct.
Let's do research.
For the second one.
Fist hand, lightning, puppet, and a chest piece.
That's power.
Okay.
Wow.
And for the last one, okay.
Hand with mirror, pride flag, lion, and a treasures.
Lion. Greed or ego or pride?
But either way, we're cooking up with something because it's all the same.
Welcome. Let's begin our podcast conversation on power tripping, the greed behind the throne.
Today's episode is called
Power tripping, the greed behind the throne.
We're diving deep into how power, when misused, can destroy not just the system, but the people, families, and also the whole society.
Basically, we'll be connecting these three literature pieces we all read. First one is Antigone by Sophocles, Animal Farm by George Orwell, and What Happened to the First Supply by John Smith. You know what? It's wild how even though these stories are from totally different time styles, they all hit the same nerve.
Right? Like how power and pride go hand in hand. And how the leaders are supposed to be the good guys, but they end up becoming the villains of their own story.
And let's be real. This isn't just a literature with the Philippine meters around the corner. This stuff hits hard. So this is the time that we talk about how we choose leader and how not to be swayed by the sweet talks and shiny posters.
Right.
Very well said, Jade.
Now, we'll proceed to the discussion and explore the thematic connections.
Okay, so let's get into it. So this is where things get juicy. So we're talking about power, right? So how it starts out sounding like a responsibility, but ends up becoming the tool for control, for greed, and how it's embodied for everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah, and you really see it play out in the Antigone. Like, I still get heated thinking about Rayon. He literally chooses his ego over justice. And I agree with this whole power critic because, particularly in the later parts of Antigone, when it says that the city is the king's, that's the law. So it's so clear that he sees thieves as his property, not as community service.
Yes, right. And actually, it's not just about Priya.
Hmm.
Even before all that, the chaos already started with the queens, Adocles, and Polonices. Like, their whole sibling bond just crumbled because of power. I agree because, particularly in the backstory of Antigone, Adocles refuses to give up the throne or like give up the throne after his agreed term. He betrays his own twin brother just to hold on to power. And worst thing is he labels Polonices as a traitor and as a spy. And when all he wanted was what was promised to him.
That's the trials set the stage for everything. I mean, that's family. And Ethiopia choose the throne over the blood. It's so sad because their greed for power literally leads them for their deaths. The fact that they kill each other in a battle is so symbolic. Like power consumes them both.
Yeah, and then Green comes in and just continues the cycle. He honors Iliocles?
Yes.
Iliocles like a hero and leaves Polynarchus to run. And then even when he knows it's going to hurt people, he even says, whoever's against my law is my enemy. So that's not leadership at all. That's obsession and control.
Actually, that same vibes in what happened to the first supply. Do you remember when the leaders hoard resources and prioritize their own influence while the rest of their people are literally dying?
Yes.
And like that part when the food is locked up and guarded while colonists are actually digging up corpses out of desperation. It's cruel, right?
Hmm.
And they knew people were suffering, but they still choose to protect their status.
And let's not forget Animal Farm.
Yes.
When Napoleon really said power is mine now, I went to full dictator mode.
Yeah.
So I agree because particularly in chapter 5, when Napoleon drives out Snowball with the dogs,
Yes.
that's when it's clear na it's not about equality anymore. And he's about domination.
Yeah, things just get worse from there. Like when he starts the ends in chapter 7, for rebelling, same thing Korean did to Athene by locking her in a stone tube
Yeah.
just because she buried her brother out of love. And both leaders are so paranoid and power hungry that they turn on their own.
You know what? That's what's so interesting. Across all these three stories, we see how power corrupts not just leaders,
Yeah.
but also relationships. Brothers, comrades, citizens in Animal Farm, everyone becomes disposable when someone gets a taste of control.
Literally. And what hits hard is these leaders always think that they're doing the right thing. Korea thinks he's protecting the law, but Napoleon thinks that he's preserving the revolution. The colonial leaders says that they're rationing the future, but what cost? People suffer, trust break, and in the end, the society collapses.
Yeah, and the people who suffer the most are the ones who are actually trying to do the right thing, like Antigone or the workers in Animal Farm, and or the settlers in the first place just wanted to live.
So yeah, power itself isn't evil, right? But when it's mixed with pride, greed, and fear of losing control, it becomes deadly. These stories all show that really clearly, right?
Yeah.
Now we'll proceed to explore the real-world connections.
You know what's wild? Everything we just talk about, Animal Farm, Antigone, what happened to the first supplies, they're old story, but they feel like they're about us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially here in the Philippines, like we've seen so many leaders who come and saying, "Oh, we'll fight for the people" and all that. But once they're in power, it's like the people don't even matter anymore.
Actually, exactly. Like during elections, especially, they're out there shaking hands, promising reforms,
Yeah, yeah.
free education,
Yes.
ayuda. But then once they're in office, it's ghost town.
Mm.
Like priority shifts, suddenly it's about connections,
Yes.
profit, and self-image.
It's given Napoleon honesty. We're all equal, but some definitely more equal than others.
Yeah, very well said.
Even in local barangays, you see it. Ever notice how ayuda or relief goods sometimes only go to certain families, and then like projects only get to be approved if you know someone from the office.
Yeah. You know, it's like what happened to the first supply.
Mm.
Resources are available, but they're hoarded, gatekept, and people, us, were expected to wait, stay obedient, and worse, be grateful for scraps.
Yeah.
And it's not just a politic. Look at the big corporation here. Exxon earn millions while workers strike just to get living wages.
Yeah.
They call it business, but it wrecks at the same rate.
Yeah, you know what really is scary? In all three stories we've discussed, no one really checks about like the abuse.
Yes. Yeah.
Like until it's too late. Like in Antigone, no one stopped Priya,
Yes.
right? They warned him, but no one made him listen.
You know what? That's why civic engagement matters. We can stay silent. If we do, we end up like boxers from Animal Farm, right? Like loyal to the end and betrayed all the way.
So maybe the real takeaways is that let not just wait for the first supplies to come or to the leaders fix things. Let's keep our eyes open, question power, and hold people accountable.
Yeah, because power by itself, it isn't evil, but when it's left unchecked and when it's fueled by greed, that's when things start to rock.
And the truth is, we all have a little power.
Yeah.
Whether as students, as voters, or citizens, the question is, how do we use it? Do we speak up or do we stay quiet and let history repeat itself?
Yes. And with that, let's head to our final topic.
Yes.
All right, let's wrap things up and go over the main points.
To wrap this up, power, when claimed for wrong reasons, almost always leads to betrayal, corruption, and destruction.
Yeah. Whenever it's power, a kingdom, or a stable economy, once a leader chooses self-interest over a service, everyone suffers.
Yeah. So let's learn from literature. Let's open our eyes, ask the hard questions, and demand better. Because we deserve better.
Yeah, and we choose leaders who lead with service, not evil.
With compassion, not control.
And with people in mind, not pride in the line.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you for listening, guys. Don't forget to think, reflect, and of course,
Vote wisely. See you next episode, and remember, just because someone sits on a throne doesn't mean they deserve it.
Yes.
Yeah. Stay woke, stay reading, and stay loud.
Peace out.
Hep, 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 hep. Before we go, remember this. True power serves. So think smart, stay kind, and always choose leaders who care.